I've worked, I mean, today at this point, I've been a professional photographer for 25 years, dude. And it's like, I started shooting pictures when I was 14 years old. So from being a nerdy kid, like pictures was my ticket to being fucking cool. You know what I mean? Like I used to like, I saw Vogue magazine for the first time and I saw like these beautiful girls in Vogue, and I'm like, there's a photographer who makes those pictures.
Exactly.
I gotta be that guy. You know what I mean? And it's not about like what I look like, but it's about like me being able to paint people in a certain light to show them like this. And also, there was no black people doing it. Like when I started, there were no black photographers. There was me in Toronto. It was me and Michael Chambers. Like that was it. And like now, like I mean, in New York there was Jamal Shabazz and Gordon Parks. Like Gordon Parks was the first black photographer to ever shoot for Vogue. Like as far as like Vibe magazine, and George Pitts was the photo editor for Vibe magazine. George Pitts essentially like changed the face of black people in media. You know, like Vibe magazine in like 95, 96, that was the beginning of like Vibe painted black people in like a glorious light, man.
Actually,
and, like,
when I would buy those magazines, the source was like my hip hop thing.
Yes.
But if I bought Vibe was almost something my mom could read. My mom could read as well.
It was the art, amazing. And imagine, in '96, I went to Vibe magazine with my portfolio, and I met George Pitts, who was by far the most influential. Like George Pitts changed my life. '96, which was the year before I shot Tom York from Radiohead, and I sat with George Pitts and I showed him my portfolio, like my jazz portraits and some fashion and blah blah blah, and he's like, Steve, you're a beautiful man. You're a beautiful photographer. He's like, your pictures, you're ready to shoot for Vibe magazine. And I'm like, wow. And he photocopied my portfolio, and I was like, oh, I was so blessed. And he's like, now let me show you some of the other photographers who are good enough to shoot for Vibe. And he showed me this tower of photocopies. It was a tower. It was literally 8 feet high of photocopies of other photographers that he had met just like me, and photographed their portfolios, and he took my stuff and he slid it into this massive stack.
Wow.
And then he pulled out like Robert Maxwell. He pulled out David Sims. He pulled out David LaChapelle. Like he pulled out these portfolios, and I was just like, and he's like, you're in the same class as these people. But
I swear I know David LaChapelle. He shoots
music
videos,
come
right?
on.
He does.
Come on. But he's like, but I met all these people before you. So at some point, I'll find the job. Like, George Pitts died 2 months ago. And after Vibe magazine, he went on to be the photo editor of Life magazine.
Okay, so wait, have you shot for Vibe?
Never. Never.
So he died 2 months ago. So you're coming up, bro.
But I mean, Vibe magazine folded, so there is no more Vibe,
there's
right?
no more Vibe.
And there hasn't been Vibe for a long time. But I shot for The Source, and like, George Pitts followed my career as I followed him. He went on to photography. He went on to being a fine art photographer and like a major influencer of like not just myself but so many other photographers in the industry. But for me, what I'm starting to deal with now, like as a 47-year-old photographer, like people who I've photographed are starting to die. You know what I mean? Like that's starting to happen. Like Corey Haim, I don't know if you guys know Corey Haim, License to Drive and like Lost Boys and a whole bunch of stuff like that. So I photographed Corey Haim in 1996, and he was in my apartment, and like he asked me to shoot his headshots. Met his mom, and like he had spent all his money. Like he had nothing. He was like literally trying to be a rapper. Had spent all his money and like, yes, man.
I missed that part.
Bro, because his career was over, and that's why he committed suicide. And it's like, so when you start. Like George Romero, director, Night of the Living Dead. He's the grandfather of the zombie genre. He just died. I photographed him like a few years ago. Like, it's starting to be like I shoot faces of today's generation, you know, and it's starting to be like now the people who I've been blessed enough to have in front of my camera are dying, and it's messed up. You know what I mean? Like I shot DMX and like Fat Joe and like like there's like Ja Rule and like there was a time I'm like,
what was DMX like?
Yeah, how was that shoot? The
Oh
DMX
my
shoot.
God. I shot DMX is a great story because DMX was the first shoot of these urban magazines. Like I shot DMX for the cover of Peace magazine. Like DMX was styled by Damon and Desmond from Lounge.
Okay.
DMX was the longest I've ever waited to take a picture before. 7 hours.
Wow.
7 hours before I
Probably
shot a
outside
single
playing
frame.
with the freaking drones.
No,
and
like,
shit,
like DMX,
Or-
at the time that I photographed him, he had just invented his own label. He had just done a multi-million, thank you, Bloodline Records. He just signed a multi-gajillion-dollar deal with Def Jam.
Yep.
He was totally like, the way I describe him, he was like if you gave a 16-year-old $10 million, what it'd be like.
Wow.
Like
Yes.
that's like literally, he like, dude, you smoke weed? You smoke weed? He'd run into the kitchen and he'd come back and he'd have like a pound in this, and then like another pound, and then like another pound, and then there was like dogs running around the hotel. Like he was just like,
Yeah.
dude, like,
Yeah.
and I'm like a professional, and this is my job, and working for new clients, and I'm like, we need to make this picture, you know. And I'm thinking, I'm hired to shoot a cover, so the pressure to shooting a cover. So he sees the T-shirt that we want him to wear, and it's baby blue, but it doesn't have baby blue shoes. Yo, we need to go to Foot Locker, yo. So now, okay, so hour one, the DMX and Foot Locker adventure.
Yeah.
Let's find him these baby blue shoes to match this thing,
This shirt.
whatever. So 10 stores later, okay, so hour three, now he wants to go to the docks because he wants to like play outdoor volleyball
Yeah.
and do
He
like
does
all
random
this,
shit.
like all
Yep.
he wants to play pool and all this stuff. Okay, so in hour four, we're at the docks, and I haven't shot a single picture yet, bro. I'm not making like that. Back in the day, it wasn't huge money. It was
Yeah.
like access to this person.
Yeah.
You're getting
Okay.
a bit, but you're like, it works when you're just like, hey, nice to meet you, blah, 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 picture, deliver the picture, get paid. Cool, it works like that. But
Exactly.
when it's 8 hours to take a picture, then you start,
It becomes a job. Like.
no, you start wondering, like, why am I doing this? Like, did I just tell this guy to screw himself? Like, you start wondering, like, why
Yeah.
am I even being a photographer? Like, this is stupid. Like, I mean, it was like, I went through like a whole gamut of like emotions that day, dude. Believe me. And it's like, so finally we're at the docks. He's playing pool, and I'm shooting Hasselblad. This is pre-digital. When I
Okay,
shot
yeah,
DMX,
yeah.
it was Hasselblad. So it's not like I can just like be grabbing shit of him. It's like I can't
still.
see
Yeah,
it.
because I was about to say,
I
it,
can't
like,
see
did you
it.
shoot him at Foot Locker? Like,
No,
but
dude, I
you
can't
do that.
see it.
Yeah.
It's super. It has to be
Yeah.
like a Hasselblad is a perfect conditions camera. It's a perfect conditions camera. So he wants to play pool, blah blah blah, and that super big, that close up.
Hey! Hey!
We're gonna
How's
drink
that,
this
Chris?
whole
Is that better, Chris?
bottle.
Pretty much. It's a part of the plan.
We're gonna drink this whole bottle here. Oh my goodness
the
me.
idea.
I can start giving you Cheza shots. Cheza shots aren't full shots, because
Holy
Not this round, though.
I tried. Oh yes.
Oh, we double tap. He double taps at the start. We double tap at the end.
Well, I'm doing it at the end too.
Front and back double tap.
Okay.
But yeah, now
So-
you're here. You can turn that camera
What
off.
about, man?
It was just I wasn't sure if you're coming. You can turn it off. Perfect. Okay, perfect. Don't even worry about it then. Do your
So
thing.
imagine DMX, that super close-up picture.
Yes.
That picture was also in Hip Hop Immortals. They chose two of my pictures. One picture of DMX, which is that close-up, and the picture of Pharrell. But I made that picture of him by accident because he was waiting for his shot, and he was like leaning on his pool cue. And I literally, well, my Hasselblad, I had a Polaroid. I went super close, and I picked just like that. You see how you just looked at me like that? That's how I shot the picture of him. And then I peeled the Polaroid, shook it like a Polaroid picture. And I peeled that Polaroid, and I was like this, on the table. And he looked at that Polaroid, and now he's like, yo! Now he's doing laps around the pool table, slamming, yo, this G's my nigga, this is my photographer, yo, this G. Like, again, a 16-year-old with like $1 million.
Yep.
Like running around, giving me high fives. Yo, we're making some pictures right now. Yo, we're making pictures right now. We're making pictures right now. Making pictures right now. So now that's all he wanted to do was take pictures. So I
All he
shot.
needs is just a little focus.
Dude, I had to like fucking rub him in oil and like hold mirrors and like blah blah. Like I couldn't. For me, I just
Really rub him in
no,
oil?
no, no, no. You know, but like I had to massage the, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
massage the
Yeah,
ego. But like, but I only had it as a Polaroid, so I had to shoot it as film. So we had to
Yeah.
recreate the picture. So I loaded the camera, blah, blah, and I shot 12 pictures. So that picture, that super close up, became one of my most iconic like portraits, like that dirty DMX close
So
up.
it's worth it.
Sure. But still, when you're getting 300, when you're getting $300, you know what I mean, and you take wait 8 hours and travel to 12 locations chasing this dude, you know what I mean? Like it ends up being like you're paying him to take your picture.
How old was
you
he
know?
at the time?
This is what like Bloodline. So this is about after Great Depression, after the third album. So we'll say like
And he was
the
still
2000s.
It was
early 2000s?
2001 or
Yeah,
2000?
early 2000. So
Yeah.
that's
So
when
he wasn't
just-
even that
he was
young. It
putting on
wasn't like he was an
drag-on
actual
stuff.
16-year-old.
No,
He was
yeah.
just.
No, but he's always like that.
Yeah.
I've heard stories about
Yeah.
was it Cradle to the Grave? Whatever movie he was in his contract, he put it that he gets time to go play with electric helicopters and helicopter planes.
No, it was. I've never experienced
Just
it.
so he can do
So, anyways, so I made this picture. I got that. So I had one picture, but I still had to shoot the cover. So I
Hotline.
feel like I had a picture, but I still didn't have enough for the magazine. So we were at the poolside, and I said you could smoke weed, and once I said he could smoke weed, then he sat and just would like. So I shot him through the whole process of like building a blunt
Yep.
and like rolling like his Century Sam and blah blah blah. And he was wearing a blue shirt and it was up against a blue sky. And he had these sunglasses, and he looked downtown. It was like the skyline and his sunglasses, and it was like a perfect picture.
Yeah.
And I shot that picture. And from that point, it was like, okay, I'm good. Like I have my stuff, but he still wanted to hang out. You know what I mean? And it was like once I had my stuff, like I was cool to leave.
Yeah, you're good to
but
go.
then for him, then he felt like I used him. He felt like, yo, you got your pictures now, bro? You want to leave? I thought we were friends, boy, blah, blah, blah. Like he's still like, now it became like he was like holding on to me, and it was like, yo, come, let's take more pictures. Like, and it was just a trip. You know what I mean? But the shots came out, they went in the cover and like whatever, but it's like there's stories attached to all kinds of pictures. Fat Joe, dude, oh my God. I shot Fat Joe, and I was scared. Like, I was, yo. Dude, you have to see Fat Joe at that time.
At that time, yeah.
It's
He's
true,
Skinny
though.
Joe now.
This is
No,
like Don
right,
Cartagena.
that
This is Don
time.
Cartagena, Joe.
Yeah.
Right after
He
Big Pun
gangster.
or without, right after Big Pun.
Yo, at that time, these were bad men, yo.
True.
You know what I mean?
They were still in street.
And it's like, when this guy looks at you and you like, I see dead people when I look at this guy, yo. Like, he scared me, man. And like, and the thing is like, with how I do my photography, like I don't use zoom lenses. So like, if I'm this close, if you see this close in the picture, it's because I was this close to take the picture. You know what I mean? So
I just learned something. Are
so-
you using prime?
I only use prime lenses, right?
just
So
learned that.
so it's like, so at that time, I shot him with a 50. So I was like, literally like, sidle up, and I'm like this close, like getting like the. And when this guy's looking at you, I saw like, dude, I look at you, you have kids, you have family, you got life, love, blah, blah, blah. I looked at him, I saw just nothing, bro. And I looked at the pictures and I'm like, yes, like, whoa, like, like that, like, hit me where it's like, yo, and that was another thing. It's like that closeness, it causes this tension.
Like
so
uncomfortable, like why is this guy so close to me? And
Yeah.
especially like where he's from,
Which then,
having someone that close to him means something's about to happen.
Yes, and then shooting pictures when that's happening, that now was like, yo, I can create this other thing if I sidle next to people and I'm starting to shoot like this.
Yeah.
So that was like the beginning of the era of this close-up that I started to make. Like this picture that like made your chest hurt. You know what I mean? Like
But is that something, so have you made a lot of people uncomfortable by going real close to them?
It's hard. Like you don't start that close when it comes to shooting a person. But for that intimate, like, again, the way that I shoot photographs has nothing to do with me.
Okay.
Now, the subject when I photograph you, because I've photographed you, you think about it like, really it has nothing to do with me or you. It has everything to do with the person who's looking at you.
Exactly.
And judging. Like,
True.
so it's like a me and you doing an exchange that's for a third party that we don't know anything about and we have no control.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So really it becomes like, I become a mirror of you that reflects back to another party that we have no control
clue
over.
how they're gonna take it.
So that dynamic and like that philosophical approach as to how I actually photograph, like that started to happen with Fat Joe, and that was like 2004.
Okay.
So that began like the era of me shooting close-ups.
Okay.
Now the next thing, I shoot to black. Like I'm sure you've seen me
Yeah,
shoot to a black
yeah.
background.
With us,
I shot to black. So I've been shooting to black for 25 years. Longer than my professional career, I've been using black as a background, sort of reoccurring through all my pictures. So my next coffee table book is called CARTY on Black.
Okay.
Which is obviously a double entendre, and it's not necessarily like a social commentary of me on black people, but it's a cross-section of how long I've been using jet black as a background.
Yeah.
Richard Avedon used white as a background to his portraits, but for me, being non-Caucasian, I chose the opposite, which is to use black.
Exactly.
To like contrast my subject matter.
Really, a lot of people don't use black.
It's very difficult. It's technically
because of
difficult.
the blending of it.
It's
With
technically.
if someone like if I go in there with his black,
yeah,
he still will. Like when I went in, I had the black hat with the Rasta colors, black hoodie, and he still shot me on black.
Yeah,
Most people would have changed the color.
Yeah,
on me.
detail black.
What did you guys shoot? What?
It was just
album promo.
Album promo.
Yeah. So know that like that's one of my isms. Like one of my CARTY-isms is like on black, and the detail and the technical ability of how to light to shoot dark-skinned subject on black. Not only that, but a dark-skinned subject wearing dark clothing on black.
Yeah.
Like that, it's like a black cat at night. It's super difficult. So being able to shoot that, because now with digital photography, people just pick up cameras and think that they can shoot pictures. You know what I mean?
They don't know. They don't even read or look up anything.
And for me, like, I try to make the kind of photographs that people think, I can take that, CARTY, I can take that picture, but
when they go to do it, they realize.
And also the rapport with the people that I have and how, like, I don't know, like the whole trick with my style is I make really easy pictures really complicated, or I make really complicated pictures really easy, or it's all about, like, it has nothing to do with me and it's all about the subject. Now, dude, now I'm drunk. You see what's happening now?
That happens.
But
one thing I did notice though, and
Holy
I was
crikey.
like, it was kind of back and forth. I was like, either I wasn't sure if you necessarily capture the essence of your subject, or it's just a moment. You're good at capturing moments. I wasn't sure which one it was necessarily.
I'm not sure either, really, to tell you the truth.
But like, when you look at your photos, you see a moment, or you see,
it's true. It's true.
The way that I just say truth. Like for me, that's all I seek in life is truth. And when it comes to my photography, like pictures lie, bro. It's just pure bullshit, right? Like I'm gonna cinch in the hips and cinch your ass and like fix your skin and like pictures lie. Like the photographer's very nature is stylized reality. It's reality, but it's stylized. So I'm okay with the stylized reality, but where I want to come, like, Bob Marley said, like, you got to be light like a feather, but heavy like lead.
Yes.
Like that's the whole vibe when it comes to like my pictures. If you look at them just for a sec, cool, light like a feather. Yo, CARTY, I got it. Yeah. But if you actually stay with a frame and look at it,
see it,
I want you to be like, yo.
Exactly.
And that's the whole point that I hope can't be imitated and can't be faked. Like that's the vibe. Like,
I mean, I don't think anyone's even trying to do that, to get to that point. You know what I'm saying? Like you talk about digital, but I don't think anyone's trying to even, they're just taking photos, taking pictures, like let's take this photo. But what you just said is something that I don't think is even crossing their mind. You know what I'm saying?
We can't.
But it's
I mean,
like
you see
gotta
billboards.
honestly,
there's profound people making pictures,
Of
dude,
course,
right
of course,
now.
of course.
I'm
I'm
not
talking
the
about-
only
I'm
guy
talking
doing
about-
he
cool
looks at
shit.
it almost like how 90s rappers are. It's like you'll hear the verse and it sounds dope, but most times when you listen back, you always hear something new.
Yeah,
You always see something
yeah.
new. So when you actually take his pictures and see them,
Yeah.
if you actually take that time to actually look, you start seeing more new things.
Yeah,
Like holy
layers.
shit, actually, exactly.
For me, like
levels.
the thing that it's all levels, Jerry, levels. Yo, the thing, like I'm now in the beginning of. Imagine how old you feel when I photographed this young cat. His name's Tristan Cole. He's not like, as in like, he's just he's a model. You know, he's got super great graphic design talent. Like he's 19. So imagine he's 19. I've been a pro photographer longer than this kid has been alive.
Yeah.
He's a black kid, dreads, cool, cultured, blah, blah, blah. He's never heard of me. Has no idea. Like, I'm now, like, yo, you understand? Like, for a long time, like, 2003, 2004, like, I walked, people, Carty, that's Carty, that's Carty. Like,
Yeah.
I was like that guy. Like, the people just knew me. And it's like now I'm moving into this new era of like, I have to reintroduce myself to this whole new generation of creative young talent. And don't get me wrong, dude, the talent that's happening now, this is Generation Digital. Like these people who are coming up now are able to do things with such grace at a time like that I wasn't doing when I was 17, 18. Like I'm seeing photographers that are 15, 16 that have like 10, 20,000 followers on Instagram. And I'm like, yo, like, but it's like, it's a beautiful thing. So I never try to take away. For me, all I try to do is mentor and teach them the value in them as a person and the value in their photography. Because the thing that I realize is that sometimes newer photographers don't realize like, you should be getting $3,000 a day to shoot pictures.
Sure.
So if you shoot for $300 a day, it makes it harder for all the rest of us who get $3,000 a day to shoot
justify
back
getting
to
$3,000
get
a
it.
day,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? So if like you're a super producer like Pharrell who gets $1 million a track, if the next super producer comes out and is doing tracks for $8,000 and is as hot as Pharrell and they're going to the radio and blah, 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 Pharrell's out of business.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So Pharrell literally has to kill that guy. Like literally, call a guy, hitman, boom, whack that guy, because he like you know what I mean? Because, but I mean I'm not trying to be that like crazy about it, but you have to understand like there's a value in what we do as image makers. There's a value in what we do as producers. There's a value in what we do in like music makers and all that stuff. And the hard thing is people who are new. They don't know their value and they don't know their value versus talent. And because they're just trying to get out there, they do stuff for free. And the stuff that they're doing for free is $10,000 worth of work that they just threw out there because they're trying to get a leg up. I mean, you see people doing ads or like Fido, like buying someone's Instagram, and it's like Fido should be paying you $100,000 because you have like,
and these companies will feed on that. Like, if someone's gonna say it, they're not gonna turn around and say, "But I can pay you this much."
And we're in such a culture of the next one, the next one, the next one, that you're not putting the value in this one that you just did.
Yeah.
And then building to the next one.
Yeah.
It's just the next one, the next one, the next one. Not even realizing what you just did or what just happened was such a profound moment. It's not about that.
Photography by its very nature is disposable. Yes, question front row.
Tammy in Lethbridge just tweeted us.
Okay, hi
She
Tammy.
wants to know if you've ever taken advantage of your craft, like a Harvey Weinstein.
Oh my God, it's super topical. But first of all, it's about reputation, and as a photographer, you're only as good as your reputation. If there's people out there talking negatively about me, I wouldn't be in business. There was a photographer very recently in Toronto in the news who was taking advantage of some young girls. His name is Mark Holland, and I know who he is.
Just
you know what I mean?
put
And
names out there. What's out there?
That's what it is. It's
it's
already
out
out
there, dude.
Yeah.
It's
already out
not
there.
like it's a secret. It's Toronto City Pulse News, and know that every time that someone like that gets exposed within the industry, it hurts everybody. Because for me, that gets attached to me because I'm a photographer. And people are like, photographers are slimy. You know what I mean? And that, I've been doing it for 25 years. I've been still doing it for 25 years. And the reason is like, because I'm not trying to, there's nothing like below board. Like everything's above. Mom, come to the shoot. I got no problem. You
but
know what I mean?
There's a lot of photographers who take pictures of naked girls, and that's their thing. And I know dudes that do that, and that's like their specialty. And girls love to do that, but at the same time, like want to feel comfortable to do that. So it's a fair question.
I can talk about this because I shoot nudes. I've been photographing girls nude since I was in first year university. My first year university, my last year's project was find someone in the class to photograph nude and be photographed nude by someone in the class. Me. That was the final year's project. And the professor explained it like this. In order to be a great photographer, you need to be a great sitter. In order to be a great person who directs and tells a person how to do blah, blah, do this, you also have to be the person doing this, and this.
If you got to turn around and tell them how to do it, you should be able to do it.
For me, my perspective, understand, I did that assignment when I was 19. That set the tempo for my professional career. First of all, knowing what it felt like to be exposed and nude like that, on set, I've photographed nudes subsequently since 1999. So I've been photographing girls nude for however long that is, almost 30 years. There is a very, very fine line between fine art nudes, which I shoot, and pornography, which I do not shoot. There is a fine line between me photographing people and me now like, hey, so what are you doing after? You know what I mean? And for me, like,
hey!
Perfect timing.
On that note,
this timing.
What was her name?
Tamara.
Tammy from Lethbridge, thanks for your question. I hope that helps.
I shot that shot already.
You took it way before us.
Okay.
Let's get into it.
I'm in the middle of a story.
Yeah, I gotta get my story done, man.
And it's important.
For girls who want to be.
It's because not yet, because we're still going back to this whole Harvey Weinstein thing, which is fucking super important.
And he's just a name. This has happened a million times over. He's just the name right now, and it's
Casting
come out.
Casting
couch. You just took the words
something
out of my
a name.
mouth.
It's a name. Like people know about this now.
It's
like
exactly.
It's a
For
porn
me,
name.
I have never taken advantage of
stuff.
a girl in order to help her advance her career. Because for me, I'm a freelancer. I base my whole career is based on reputation. It takes one drop of ink in that crystal clear blue water to poison the well, and I can't afford that. So for me, there has to be that definitive separation. Definitive separation between work and pleasure. I can photograph you nude, but after, it's like this, high five, peace out. And literally, I don't even look at them without my camera. I'm like, yeah, okay, blah, blah, go over there, stand over there. Okay, you good? You good? Okay, I'm looking now. Okay, no, like, I'm the one, like, no, like, you have to, like, I have to take something that girls are like, no, you can't sit like that. I'm the one who's like, no, you have to be more like, be strong.
Yeah.
Be strong. Don't be like, so it's like girls, and it's hard because sometimes it's young girls. Like, I'm trying to also coach them into like, like, you look at modeling agencies, look at like Ford, Next, Elite, like these, you'll see nudes shot in their book because they do lingerie, they do swimwear, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's a thing that girls have been photographed nude by pro photographers for 1,000 years in a very professional, elegant way. And that's the side of the fence that I'm on. But the whole underside of the industry that's kind of sleazy and blah, 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 I just don't delve there. And I try to educate people that there's like a line, like, I'll show my mom my nude pictures. You know what I mean? Like I have, like, but it's like the same point. I have a 10-year-old daughter, you know what I mean, and a 9-year-old son. So I also have to like walk the line and educate them as to like,
Why? Is
What?
This, yeah.
Okay,
What's
I'm
new?
gonna
What's
take that a
point?
step further. Being in the industry so long, have you? I mean, I'm sure you've heard stories. Have you come across this type of thing? That is this a thing
How is
that's
it like
been?
even a girl has
time-
come your way like, hey, I'll give you this for this.
Listen, when this stuff was going on, no.
Yeah, I wasn't saying
no.
all that. I was saying
No, just
you
there's
like,
times. There's times.
You've been there. You've been in the industry so long that there's obviously like Harvey Weinstein. We talk about him. We use as a name now, but you've heard the stories. You know, this has been a thing. And I'm not asking for names. But I'm saying like, has this been an ongoing thing that's been going on, and it is, now is coming to light more
It's
and more.
always gone on.
Yeah.
It's like for me, as long as I've been a photographer, from the very, very first years in business, like there was like a photographer who would shoot girls in their swimsuits, like on the beach, but when they would change into like their new swimsuit, he would just hold the reflector like this. Yeah, just change here. Like to block from other people, but he would just stand here and like,
And look down. Yeah.
like from back then. So like that was like, ew, that's like super weird. Go to the bathroom. Like you have your whole private own.
I feel like that's pretty
you know what
regular
I mean?
practice. Because you're like,
Understand?
I'm already seeing you, so it's okay if I see you.
Listen,
now, you know?
understand that there's always going to be slimy within any industry.
Of course, yeah.
Within any, my daughter's a cheerleader, and like that's the thing about. I mean, we have to train our youth and our young ladies like how to,
And
and
our young
also
men.
our young
Yeah,
men,
yeah.
how to be respectful individuals.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. I was coming home with my girlfriend, like from, went up to a club, blah, 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 came home, walked the dogs, and during the dog walk, we saw these two people come out of a cab, and like, this is like a residential area. This girl like fell out of the cab and like was kind of really,
was gone.
really
She was
drunk.
wasted.
And she's with this guy, and this guy's trying to get her into the apartment. And we're like, hey, you okay? And she's like, no. And she was totally out of it. And
Yeah.
basically, as the story sort of unfolded, my girlfriend and I learned that this girl thought that she was at her house in
She was
Leaside.
at his house.
And she was at his house in like Little Italy. And thinking that like she didn't give permission to go home, and like he is basically trying to get laid, and she's
Exactly.
way beyond. So my girlfriend and I just intervened. We were just like, hey, what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, so we literally kept the girl there, was like, do you know this guy? No. Do you want to go with this guy? No.
Yeah.
Do you want to go home? Am I not home? No, you're not home, girl. Do you want to go home? Yes. What's your address? Blah, blah. We opened her phone, called an Uber for her, stayed with her. Meanwhile, I now went to this guy, and I'm like, yo, what's up, rapist? What are you saying? What are you
Exactly.
doing? Took his picture, I'm like, my girlfriend lives across the street. I'm like, I just literally was like, hey, I know you, I know your picture, and I know what you're trying to do. Like, that's sort of my personality as far as like a guy. Like, I have a daughter. I can't see. And
you
this
can't let
girl,
it
she
go.
was like, I'm like,
also
how old are
have a
you? She's like, I'm 21,
Exactly.
blah, blah,
And I
this guy.
know
Two.
that I will have one when I have one. I already
You know what I mean?
I
already
have
know.
two, like, nah, man.
You
can't
have a
let them
girl
things 'cause you never
because
know,
that's
man.
what happens. It just teaches you, like, I don't know. So for me, I'm in it for the underdog.
Yeah.
Like I'm just in it for the underdog. That's just my vibe. Like I have a deaf sister. My sister is like handicapped, and I've always been like, you see an underdog, you just help. That's just what you do. You know what I mean? So my girlfriend and I we were all about, first of all, making sure this girl got home safe, and number two, making this guy realize that if we weren't there, this girl's about to get raped.
You already know?
Yeah.
You already know.
So it's like,
Yeah.
anyway, so the hard thing is like, it's about the education, and like, no means no, and like, what are you doing lurking at a club trying to take a girl home past last call when she's
I mean,
like
I don't know that he was necessarily.
obliterated?
Yeah.
But the fact they brought her home.
Yeah.
It's,
Dude.
you know,
Yeah. No, I get
No,
where he
the
was going
flags
with
for
it,
me-
and it's like you're calling this guy.
And
this girl's
the fact that
butt.
she thought she was
Yeah.
going home.
Thank you.
If she
She thought
if
she
she
was in
knew where she
Leaside.
was going, cool.
If this girl was like, no, I'm with it.
I'm with him.
I'm with him. We're trying to go
She
home.
wasn't
Enjoy
in
your night.
She wasn't in a place to say.
No,
whether
but she
was or
thought she
not.
was in
Yeah.
Leaside. She
Yeah.
knew she was.
Yeah.
Like, come on. So that kind of a situation, like this is like, we brought this whole thing up because it's like, you have to educate your kids. Like, you can't.
This girl told me the other day. She's 31 years old. She's with her mom at a store, and they're like shopping for I don't know, there's some, I don't even know what it was, like a vintage furniture store or some shit. And with her mother, okay, this guy says, and out of nowhere, they're like over here looking at this, he's like, oh, look at this chair. You can sit down on it, open your legs, and you can fit 2 men in there. And
really?
They're like, what? And he's like, oh, one's enough for you? And they're just like,
he's still going.
like, this is, there's just like, she was like, she ended this conversation by saying, it's crazy to say that none of us probably know a girl that hasn't been sexually assaulted in some way.
Yep.
Oh, this whole Me Too thing
You know what I'm
is
saying?
like,
But
oh
like,
my God.
This is in front of her mother, and this is out of the blue, like at a store, sober. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy that it's all coming to light. I mean,
It's just
it's
all one
It's
time.
all sort of been like, we all know it sort of happens, but not to the extent that, and
It's crazy.
I don't know. It's
Well,
just
Harvey
weird how,
Weinstein thing.
I gotta go to the washroom.
yeah, no, yeah.
The Harvey Weinstein thing is really, it's been
No,
it's
I
been
gotta watch
something that has
This is bad.
brought.
I think it's crazy how us as a society, like legitimately, have come to this and it's 2017, and it's things like that have gone just like okay for this long, and it's like also as a society we become oversensitized to certain things, to certain culture appropriations, to sexual things, to all these things, and now everyone's very sensitive about everything. But
It's crazy.
at the same time, it's crazy it's taken this long.
I just you start to realize, like, do you have kids?
I don't.
How old are you?
I'm 30. I'm about 36 in a week.
So at some point you'll have kids, yeah?
Yeah, I have a puppy.
That's where it's, brother, that's where it starts, is the girlfriend and the puppy. Next thing you know, you have kids. But know that, like...
And that's why, like, I have a feeling I'm going to have a daughter.
I had a daughter first.
I have a feeling I'll have a daughter
first. And when you have a daughter, your whole everything shifts. Your whole
I'm
energy
sure.
shifts.
I'm sure.
And that they, meaning those people, they say that guys who were like, with girls, they have daughters first.
That's why I say I'll probably have a daughter. It's been, listen, I've written songs about it. I love women. I'm very respectful to women. I was raised by women.
Yeah, of
like,
course.
I'm very, like, I just already know I'm going to have a daughter.
Yeah.
So.
Well, but the thing is, like, it's a blessing to
Yes,
have
I did
a
wash my
girl
hands.
first, because I don't know. It's hard. You have like a whole new perspective when your daughter is the firstborn. I can't explain it. Like, my son was born second, and when you have a daughter as the first, it's like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, you feel like
I don't know. I have a daughter first too. I have 2 daughters first actually, and then the son.
But don't you feel like it's your job to be in front and like plowing?
Yep.
Like, it's your armor is like plowing, and your family is behind, right? Like, it's
true. Because when, like, the technical main, what is called nuclear family, son first, daughter second. But the son first gives you that, you have extra eyes. You have somebody else to look out for your daughter, for you.
right.
But
right.
without that in place,
when it's
you
daughter
have to be
first,
those
it's
eyes.
you. Yeah.
And so when she's going through middle school, high school, all this stuff, you're watching everything. You're trying to make sure that she has everything.
Yeah, but it's in my. I have a whole bunch of beers in my
got some
bag.
beers here,
But okay, I'll drink one of those. Kat, I'm sorry, I'm gonna come home drunk, baby.
But yeah, no, I totally understand. Like,
Thank you, sir.
daughter first. And even then, you know how they say, if you have a daughter first, you were like a guialist before.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about when you were in the bathroom. Yeah.
So even then, it kind of hits you like, okay, I gotta make sure she doesn't reach anybody who does because if you've been around girls or have had many girls, you don't want your daughter to be one of those girls to somebody else.
Yes, man.
So that's in your head, like, okay, I'm gonna make sure that she knows the games that guys play because I was the one that played those games. And I feel like if you go with that, you're a gallus, so you have girls first. By the time you have your boy, you've already taught your girl so much stuff that your boy is just there. Like that's when, to me, my boy is like gonna be spoiled.
No, my boy is like, my kids are 16 months apart. My boy is like, he's like so sweet and kind, and he's so sensitive that like if you raised your voice to my boy right now, he'd cry right away. He'd cry because he doesn't know you, and you're mad at him. He'd cry right away, like that kind of sensitivity. My daughter, hard thing with my daughter is like, she's 10 and she's 5'2". Okay, like you got to wrap your head around the height. And she has size 9.5 feet. Like she's like
size.
a fucking. She's like, and she's 10. Like she looks like a 6.
Hey!
She looks like a 16-year-old.
wow,
She's 10. So you can imagine.
Yeah.
What's that's like, you know what I mean? And my ex is from she's from Cape Town, South Africa. So my ex, like my baby mama, is like born in apartheid, born under apartheid, and she's colored. So like it's just like it sort of sets like a tone for like my daughter is like she's just so sweet, but she gets picked on. You know what I mean? Like, cause she's like an underdog. So people see the underdog and they just like attack, and it's like now just imagine now your kid, your daughter, just people are picking on her. Like what that does to you mentally, like that's like you know bullying and that whole thing. Like imagine like your child, the victim of like bullying, and then that shit is not like just now. It's like been going on for like years, like that. And the hard thing is I was a victim of bullying, and like my whole A-type, extroverted, super person, like all of my personality is learned behavior, which came after I had my camera. Like my camera gives me confidence. Yeah. So without my camera, was bullied. I was just a nerdy kid, you know. But like, so my daughter and being 10, it's like my daughter is living the same life that I lived when I was 10. I wore glasses when I was 8 years old. People used to pick on me because I had glasses. My daughter, glasses when she's 8 years old. But now glasses are cool.
That's true.
So people aren't picking on her because of glasses. They're picking on her for other things. Which is like, it's just crazy.
People wish they had glasses.
Right?
That's true.
Like they wear fake glasses to think now glasses are cool, but when I had wasn't cool. So my daughter, like, anyways, it's just one of those things. Like you want to fight those battles for them.
And you
know?
became successful.
Whatever about that, but it's just like as I was saying to Cheza, like you want to be the snowplow to build the trench. Like you, as the individual, as the adult, can take all the abuse. You can, cause like you've done it. You've taken it as a kid. You know what I mean? Like,
but they need to.
They have to take it themselves as well, right? But still.
I know, and I can't even imagine. I really can't because. And also,
Actually,
dude,
you could imagine.
Look at you.
Think about it. As family,
you have a daughter, and there's some snotty-nosed kid that every day he trips her. He trips her, and he puts your girl like in the mud every day. And your girlfriend, your wife, whatever, is telling you, begging you, Johnny, please don't go. Like, you can't go there. But you're thinking, I'm gonna end that kid. Am I wrong? You're thinking you're gonna grab that kid, and it's like if you ever see me, like, am I wrong?
If you ever touch my kid,
I would.
Yeah.
Right? So imagine you can't grab a 3-year-old and be like, I'm gonna end you. Like you can't do that. But like that's life right now. Like you don't. When I was a kid, like. It's weird. It's like I raised myself. Like my parents were just like removed. They were like working and blah, blah, blah. You just dealt with that shit on your own. But now parents are like so involved. Yes. Like my daughter gets picked on. You just look at her and you're like, what's up? Something's up. What's up?
Same.
What's up? You know? What's up? Oh, this boy pushed me down. And you're like, oh, what
I'm at
boy?
School tomorrow.
You know? And it's like this same boy. And you're like, dude, like what? Oh my God. It's so... it's weird because you'd think that now it would be different. You know, you'd think that now there'd be no bullying. There wouldn't be like that kind of stuff that we dealt with.
I
like,
feel like
when we were
now
in school.
it's more that they finally
now we
put
talk
a
about
spotlight
it.
on
Now
those
we talk
things.
about it. Yeah,
Exactly.
That's
Now we have spotlight
always
on all
been
these
there.
different issues.
It's always been there, and we all have our chips on our shoulders because of things like that.
Yeah. Growing
But
up
now,
ourselves.
and nobody ever talked about it. And not only that, it was like, you know, like fucking
Man up,
buck
buddy.
up. Yeah,
Man
exactly.
up, buddy.
Exactly.
Man up.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, did he
Man
punch
up.
you? Make sure tomorrow
Man
you
up.
punch him back.
Tomorrow you
Make
punch
sure
him
you
back.
hit him. Like,
Now it's no. That's
Yeah.
not violence. Was the
Such a-
violence? No, it's not
Such
what
a weird,
happens.
different fucking.
No. They.
but it's just
Like
the
we're
generation.
oversensitive, at the same time we're really now like putting a spotlight on things, like you said. But it's like we're on both extremes.
Well, that's the thing. We're so
Whereas
on so much of an extreme that we put spotlight on everything at once. So we're trying to fight bullying. We're trying to fight ADD, all this other shit,
Yeah.
everything.
Hunger.
Like
Childhood
little
hunger.
thing. Like that's even pushed behind. Honestly, that's pushed behind all the little stuff that everybody's going through.
I'm watching Fargo right now, and they're just like it's very like Minnesota. It's like similar to Northern Ontario. They're very, but it's just like nothing was ever said, and everything was like, oh, hey, you know, and you're just like, well, yep. You know, and like that was it.
Yeah.
That was the
The
conversation about
conversation
something.
of it, it's true.
There was like, oh, my daughter's being picked on, and
Yeah.
well, we'll eat.
Yeah.
Well,
And now we're just like, now we're talking about it so much, and it's like a whole thing, and it's, I don't know, it's such a weird, different time.
it's crazy.
It's true. You're the first to bring a vape on.
Yeah.
Oh, did I? You saw that? Sorry.
It's
Oh.
a smoke still in here.
Yes.
No, actually,
Not a,
they're trying to convince me to get a vape because
that's a.
our old,
pen,
like
that's
our
not a
first
vape.
season when we used to
It
do it
is-
at his
it is a
house,
vape.
we were able to shoot on his deck, so I could just smoke all day.
So
But-
I've been doing some work for this company called All Air, and they make this incredible product, which is called the All Air pen.
Okay.
I have two of them in my pocket here. Sorry.
I just said that's a pen.
Yeah. So this is the indica.
It should look like a.
This is a sativa. I roll with two of them
Oh, how do you know which is which?
because I have the S on this one.
There we go.
A little S on this one.
That always look like what's it called? Like the shit girls use for makeup.
Yeah.
Like it's that small. But you know what? This is the size of the stuff I've been looking for. I don't like the
this
big
sativa?
ones.
That's the indica.
That's the
Okay,
indica.
I'll just-
I don't like the big ones. This guy's, you're very picky, aren't you? But everybody has those big ones. I'm not in those big ones. I don't like those big
No.
shit like in the air. Like
This?
I don't give a shit.
Please puff that.
No, but yeah, the big fucking.
3 seconds. Like, so basically, the guy who started this company, Andrew
clean,
Robinson, you know the G pens, they were like, they
Yeah.
break, they're
Al Air.
defective, and blah, blah, blah. And so basically,
you know what's in here?
his idea, it's distillate, and it's super, super high quality. You basically unscrew it. This is you screw this in, recharge it.
Yeah, yeah.
These, when they become empty, you just buy
Purchase a new one?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like $60.
You
You can
don't
get
strain it or
sativa. It's basically Girl Guide cookies, Quantum Kush, or Pennywise.
Okay.
So they have an indica, sativa, and hybrid. And the whole vibe about, like, I mean, I got hired by this company, Modern Leaf, to help break the stigma to cannabis use. For me, I've been using cannabis daily for 25 years. The reason is because I have Crohn's disease.
Okay.
And I have inflammatory bowel disease. I don't talk about it. I don't tell people, hey, I have Crohn's disease. I have like 2 feet of intestine missing. You know what I mean? Like this I have a scar from like here to here. Like people don't know
Okay.
that about me. But so when it comes to cannabis use, it's like appetite,
Yep.
being able to sleep,
Mm-hmm.
being able to get out of bed, pain relief,
Yep.
anti-inflammation, and all this stuff. And for me, I had surgery when I was 23, like in the very first year of business, and like I started using cannabis for pain relief, like maybe in 1999, but was always on medication, taking medication.
Yeah.
Just in the last like when you have Crohn's, they just cut out your intestine until you have like a bag.
Crohn's.
You know what I mean? So you have a bag, and then you like shit into a bag, and it's like whatever. So for me, I had to get a hold of my life. I had to get a hold of my body, and riding bikes is like what has made it so like I actually have my body back is because I actually use my body. I ride bikes. I ride like 100 plus
actually,
kilometers.
in my mind, I was
you
like,
know?
I wonder if he's gonna ride a bike.
I took an Uber today, but I ride bikes. I ride like,
do.
you know, like 100 to 200 kilometers a week, and that keeps me. It's like use it or lose it. Like when it comes to your body, and that help. And using cannabis and cannabis oil, that helps me with the anti-inflammation. So even just recently, so these guys invented this all-air pen because the G pens and like they just break, and like you'd pay $60 and it'd
then
break.
you gotta buy a new one and all
So
that, yep.
so these guys basically just came up with like built a better mousetrap, and also they're from Vancouver. Like the company All Air, and they're here, and like this now you see like Gucci Mane with them, and like Young Dog, and like now this is a thing where you're in the club, and people in the know pull out an All Air pen. There's no smell. There's no.
Merman.
There's no anything.
Merman.
It's super stealthy, and it's like.
You gotta get in my.
You know what I mean? Like nowadays, it's not guys wearing Bob Marley T-shirts like smoking chalice. It's like, I mean, but it is. But it's more now. Moms who are having anxiety after their kids go to sleep are like smoking cannabis, and it's like. It's people who are doing yoga and they're doing cannabis, and it's people who are cycling and people who are like a kickboxer, Angelina Blessed. Like I just did a video of her and talking about she makes edibles, and it's basically for recovery because these people are taking like super impact to their body, and THC and CBD is actually anti-inflammatory. So she makes edibles so people can like basically train again tomorrow as hard as they train today, and it's like so
CBD is
CBD. I've heard a lot about CBD.
So it's basically like I'm now, because I have Crohn's and because like I use it essentially as medicine and I'm like licensed to like to use it, I feel like it's like I'm finding just all these different ways to ingest cannabis. Like edibles don't really work on me, but I find the
don't work.
Well,
or don't.
It's
work
just
for
I guess
you.
the dosage.
On
and
you or
what I
for you?
wanted to do is like I've not really had luck with edibles, so for me I prefer to vaporize or smoke. Sure.
Good word. Okay.
Any more questions from the
that's
viewing
crazy.
audience?
No, actually, I like the fact that you use the word cannabis. I just read something that marijuana was used as a way to make
it's a racist
weed.
term.
It's like a racist term for Mexicans. The whole
Well,
point they use
Mexicans and blacks, it
marijuana
was just meant
to-
to sound foreign to white people, so because it was traditionally used more by Latinos and blacks.
Yeah.
So white people would be like, oh, that sounds foreign. I won't use that. That's
So now today they begin
Cannabis,
to start using cannabis to
Yeah,
kind of
it's a plan.
separate it from that.
Yeah.
But so it's like from the post, it was a Facebook post. From the post it said everybody should start using cannabis to kill that stigma of marijuana, because marijuana was always
It's a derogatory, like the
exactly.
N-word. Like the N-word, yeah.
So
well, also
It's crazy.
the paddy wagon. It's because they used to go and pick up all the drunk Irish. Yeah, that's
It's why it's called the
how
paddy
often do
wagon.
we use the
Yeah.
paddy wagon back in the
sure.
day?
Yeah,
It's
it's
true.
Irish. I mean,
All
that's
these,
when you really, if you really want to break in, like, break down, like, racism, like, on, like, a real level, like, you can, that's what patois is. Like, I'm not Jamaican, never set foot in Jamaica, but the whole patois language is based on, like, banana, and it's like, ban the Anna, which is, Anna is the food, and it's like, ban the food. So it's like, we're going to name something, ban food. It's like, no, free Anna, like, hi Anna, you know, like, change it
Jamaican,
to,
they
like,
change
you
that.
know
It's
what I
like with
mean?
Rasta with oppression. They're like, there's nothing up about oppression.
Yeah, there's nothing,
So they call it downpression because they're
downpression.
pushing you down.
Yeah, and freedom.
So-
it's not freedom. It's because freedom. You're dumb if you think you're free. So it's free I. It's like all these different
Exactly.
things. So
And then
it's like,
dedication. If you're dedicating something, it has
you're
nothing to do with the dead.
You're dead.
So it's
Idication.
livocation. So you occasionally say
Yeah.
livocation all the time.
Idication.
It's a whole, exactly. It's like all these different things.
Yeah.
But yeah. But actually, before we even get off, is there anything new you're working on?
Well, I mean, for me, I'm always.
Hey!
Let's
talk
take this
about it,
last
let's talk
shot
about it.
and go ahead.
Talk about it.
Oops, oh.
Final shot for the episode.
I've been working on these moving pictures, which are basically my portraits, but my living portraits.
Okay.
We talked about
They're essentially photographs that move. I've been working on that since 2009.
Okay.
And it's hard to own a thing in photography, but when it comes to like shooting these 60-second portraits, that's something that I started. I never saw it anywhere else. It's like I invented this. What if my photographs move?
Exactly.
What if I use the exact same sensibility when I shoot a portrait, but rather than shooting still frames, I switched it to video and just let the video play through, change it to slow motion, and just directed people the same way that I would direct a photograph and allowed people to, like, so that for me is what's new. Starbucks Canada just hired me to create like 100 short motion portraits of people tasting this iced coffee for the first time, which is like these genuine, like authentic reactions. So my short motion portraits is something that within the next year is something that's really going to see way more of it come out. I've always been on the forefront of streetwear and urban streetwear. So streetwear and urban clothing is something that, like, streetwear used to be just what we'd wear when we're not like in a suit or whatever, but now streetwear is in Vogue magazine.
Yeah,
so
it's every day.
So streetwear
what
is
you wear
like
in
the
meetings.
next real big thing as far as pushing my stuff. And being a director. I mean, I've always been a director as a photographer. I mean,
You've done a few music videos.
I
as
have.
well, right?
I've done quite a few, but I never taught myself.